Would you like to join the Open Launch Initiative?
Yes, I read a bit about it. So if I understood correctly, I think it's really interesting project. I would be happy to learn more about it. Definitely.
Yes, the idea is practically to if many teams go and share the price of a spaceport. I think we have 15 teams, and so if the price is about 60,000, each team can pay less than 6,000.
The difficulty is at the moment, as we've mentioned, that we do struggle year on year to find funding. It's quite hard for us to make any sort of financial commitments for next year because we've no idea what we'll have next year. And it will probably come down to either supporting that or going to EuRoC. That's the difficulty for us. It's weird. We're a team that's been around for a long time, but every year we have to treat like we're a brand new team.
Where do you test and launch your rockets?
Oh, this is a tricky one because, as Paul has mentioned, the normal ceiling is about 1 kilometre, and you can do higher launches, but the process to apply for it is a bit more complicated. It can be quite expensive with the motors and with the travel, so we don't want to go overseas just to do testing, because that gets very expensive. But a lot of the smaller teams, like the UK Rocketry team, have done lots of test launches at local launch sites and also drone drop tests because their rockets are quite light. Though they did one recently where they dropped it and the drone dropped their nose cone with the parachutes and it drifted into a tree. So they had to go up with the ladder the next day to retrieve it, which is always the danger of drop tests. So the problem is that, as we mentioned, people are only here for 1 year, which means that if people are coming into the society with no rocketry experience, they are going to struggle to get their level 1 qualifications or level 2. I think for EuRoC we would need, is it a level 2 or level 3 for the motors?
Last year it was level 2. I think this year it should be just level 2.
Okay, so we would need, that takes a long time to get your level 1 and your level 2 if you're coming into it new. So we can't actually legally launch the rockets in the UK that we do at EuRoC without, we can do, but it's a lot more complicated.
Could do.
Yeah.
But
it's a lot harder.
The question is, it takes time and you need the budget for. So in Cranfield, in CranSEDS, we were aiming to get the budget, enough budget to finish the projects. And last year it was just good, but not that much margin. But actually testing the rockets depends what you want and what you need to test, what's your requirements. So if it's just structural testing, you can do on the ground, you can make basic, with your hands, you can make basic stuff, just really. And if you want to test your avionics bay, we had a very small vacuum chamber where you can put your avionics bay inside and you can get some tests like that. And even without that, you could just take a vacuum cleaner and that's with a vacuum cleaner you could test your avionics. And then you can have, we did recovery system deployments testing on the ground with black powder. So we were in a farm, just next to the university, with a farmer allowed us to use his fields, can do tests like that. So at the end, test flight is the ultimate goal for testing. It's the final test before the competition. Obviously, it's not mandatory to get to do it. So definitely, it's cool to do it because you're launching a rocket, and that's something awesome. But if you don't have the budgets or if you don't have the time, abilities, you can still get to test your rocket well enough for the launch, have a safe launch.
It's a huge risk as well, because if you have an unsuccessful test, then suddenly you have no rocket a month before the competition. And so if you are going to do a proper test flight, then you have to have the budget and the capacity to create the rocket again. And we don't have that.
I guess I remember last year, we 3 of us went to a place which was 2 hours. 2 hours from Cranfield to drive, and 4 hours, to be honest.
During the petrol shortage.
Yeah, exactly. And we went to some sort of a jungle type of a place to test our, I guess,
it wasn't a jungle. It was a park by an estate.
A very dark jungle. In the night, we did our pyrotechnic ejection test, and it was so weird. And Zoe was making me stand in the grass. I remember she's like, just shut up and stand there, just record the ejection.
You were trying to stand too close to the pyro, and it was like, we must do this safely.
Yeah. I was like kind of scared because I thought like I would be captured by an animal or something. I don't know. It was not really a jungle, but it seemed like a jungle.
Near London, the most exciting thing you're gonna get is a terrier off the lead. Like
we didn't have petrol in our car, so basically, I guess we were stopping at each and every petrol station to fight for some petrol. And I guess it took us a long time, but it was quite fun, to be honest. Like we had to test it. And the reason we had to do this because we need a licensed practitioner who is level 3 certified and who can in supervision of whom we could do the pyrotechnic test. So it's quite difficult to arrange such things. And some sort of recovery test as we did with with everyone in the team was in the farm, as Paul mentioned, which was kind of fun as well. So we were like hogging on chips at that time, standing there. Some of the team members trying to assemble the rocket.
some of us talking to the donkeys.
Yeah. Some of us singing to the donkeys. So we have really great singers who sung a song for the donkey.
How many sponsors